Hey, loves. Welcome to the sip and chat time. It's Marlene of Love Marlene 411. On this channel, we talk about the hard topics, the tough topics, things that are difficult to discuss, but we talk about it over here. We have our drink, we have our wine, our beer, our whatever drink it is, and then we just have the conversation that we need to have. So, welcome, okay? Welcome to it. So, let me remove this. How's everybody doing? I really appreciate it. I really appreciate if you would like this, subscribe to this channel if you have not already. And we're going to get into today's topic. Today, we're going to be talking about our past and the insecurities that it leaves behind us. Um, when we speak on our insecurities, it's things like when your parent, your sibling, uh, previous relationship. When key people do things to us in our life, there's a scar that gets left behind. There's a pain. There's so much things that happens to us because we go through so many things. So it's so important for us to have these type of conversations and find ways to heal, ways that we can be stronger than the past, because a lot of times what happens is we get stuck in the past because we never, number one, we don't think that we can heal from things. We don't believe in ourselves enough. And the reason why we don't believe in ourselves enough is because we got beat down so much. Your self esteem, your self awareness, like it's in the toilet, it does not exist. It's completely obliterated. Okay. There is no self esteem, there's no self awareness. You're just going through life, and your life is not going to be good until you come to the realization that I need to deal with, cope with, talk about the things that has happened to me so that I can no longer be miserable. I can stop being unhappy so that I can get into what I need to get into, so that I can get focused on what I need to get focused on. So we do have to think about those things. I think that's so important. Hey, puzzle pieces, how are you doing? Welcome in. It's so amazing to see you here. Thank you so much. We got a member in the house. Thank you so much. How are you doing? And I'm going to put the link here in the chat. I think it's so important for us to have these conversations to talk about our past and talk about the insecurities that it leaves behind. And I think that your if you don't talk about your insecurities, then so many things will happen to you. You'll make your own self so unhappy. You'll make your own self so sad. Hi, welcome to the chat.
Hey, my friend, how are you?
Doing very well.
That's wonderful. What are we talking about today?
Today, we're talking about our past and the insecurities it leaves.
Ooh, wow, wow, wow. Well, continue on your journey right now. Continue talking. Sorry I interrupted. And then we go from there.
Okay, no problem. So, when we talk about our past and the insecurities that it leaves us, we must first talk about what it does to us. When we hear things from people that we care about, people that we love, people who are important to us, it kind of takes a hit at not only your ego, it takes a hit at your self-esteem. It makes you feel you're not important. They make you feel like you're trash, actually, when you're not. And I can only speak for myself. When people in my life did things to me, and it was like I stayed stuck in that year of whatever happened. So something key happened to me, a trauma happened to me actually when I was 7 years old. And I was stuck in that trauma for such a long time because I I didn't talk about it. That was one thing.
Mhm.
So I think that's I just like started what do you call it? The wheels just started turning. I was like, yeah, I stopped talking. I didn't talk about it. So let's marinate on that for a little bit.
Wow, didn't we say something about that earlier today?
Hmm.
But traumas, or what they leave behind, right? Because sometimes the action is small, um, or what happened is small, but it's how you received it in that particular age that you were at that is what makes the greatest impact. For me, it was when I was 5 years old. Something started happening to me, and for about a year, that I was SB, um,
Hmm.
actually SA, but in SB as well. But I didn't. It happened for about a year when I was younger. Like I said, I was like 5.5 or 6 years old. No, I think I was like I was 5.5. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was 5.5 years old, and it went on for like a year, maybe less. And that that trauma went with me all the way to adulthood until I started working on myself. And what left for me, Marlene, were scars that were so deep because, like you said, we don't talk about it. We
Well,
don't tell anyone.
well, the whole thing about it is how can we tell anyone when we feel like we're garbage?
Exactly. It leaves you dirty, right? It leaves you
Mhm.
feeling dirty. It leaves you feeling lesser than. Um, it feels you. I mean, you feel like you're not, that if you talk about what happened to you, you're gonna be titled something, right? There's gonna
Mhm.
be a title put on you, a little fast, or it's your fault, right? You're easy, or you provoked, or you this, you that. So even though it may not be the case that will happen, but you it leaves you with all those names in your head, because that's what it did to me. I couldn't really say anything, like, because I was afraid that I was going to be blamed for what
Yes.
happened.
Well,
But
I can say, when you're talking about your essay and your SB, you also have to put in there the ones that that they get the verbal abuse.
mm-hmm, which
When
which
things.
is where the B is from,
Okay.
right? Is that part of, because with the SA is the SB, the name calling from the perpetrator, right?
Right.
So you have all of that. And first and foremost, Marlene, I have to ask you a question really quick, if that's
Of
okay with
course.
you.
Of
What are you
course.
drinking?
Oh, today it's
What are you
not anything.
sipping?
Today I'm only sipping water. I didn't do anything
Ah,
special, so I'm not. I wish I could tell you I'm having this amazing drink, but that would be a flat out lie. It's just water over
ah,
here. What are
I'm
you
having
sipping?
I'm sipping on amaretto flavored coffee.
Ooh.
Yeah. I got a special for today. I said I have to get me one. I have to get me one. And I know this little place where they have them. It's a Mexican coffee shop, and all of their drinks are, like they have cafe horchata, and it tastes just like horchata does, and it's coffee, but it's delicious. So I got it from there. It's called
Ooh.
Tierra Mia, the place, but
Mm.
it's delicious. So that's what I'm sipping on today. So I'm ready
Okay.
for anything, Marlene. I'm ready for anything.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
yeah, the scars and the traumas that lives us, sometimes that stopped us from going further in life. And I'm sure that you probably understand where I'm going with this. Because of the trauma, I limited myself on going certain places. I limited myself on. Um, it affected my school. It affected my friendships. It affected my desire to travel and my desire to do a lot of things because I always had that fear, in me that something will happen. Even though if it was an SA, it could be any other kind of attack. Is compared to when you don't have this certain traumas, you're free. You go, you come and go, and a lot of my friends travel, had a great time, and I always had fear in me, and I feel it's because of that trauma. I don't know if you
Mhm.
can relate to it.
Yes. Well, for me, my traumas and my abuse that
Mm-hmm.
happened to me, it gave me a feeling like I don't want to do anything because the next time it could end in tragedy. Next time I could wind up being a victim, or next time I could wind up something worse will happen to me. So it gave me a complex.
There you go. That's the exact word, Marlene. Thank you for saying it because I was like, what is it that it does? Yeah, it gives you a complex. You cannot be as free as somebody else that hasn't been, trauma induced at an early age. If I think that's what it is, right, Marlene? That we were
That
induced to trauma at such a young age.
I think, and exactly, and I think on this space is a perfect place to say things like that, because I really don't hear people having conversations like this, that when they got involved in some trauma, some tragic event, some form of abuse, something horrible happened to them in their life. And it could be things like, getting divorced. You were in a DV situation, um, things like that. People don't really talk about what happens. People just see them when they're scarred, when the trauma happened. They see them then, and oh, they're that way. Why are they that way? But they don't understand everything that they have had to deal with to be where they are right now.
Yeah, they don't see the inner scars, right? That
Mhm.
we carry with us because it's not something. And I don't know if it happened to me. It's that I even had like a physical reaction, right? And I mean, I will get sick. I didn't know why. I will get these body aches from time to time, and at the during the anniversary of the first occurrence, right, when it first happened, meaning when the trauma first happened, I will get sometimes fevers on that particular time, particular day. I will get, you know, sometimes just a body ache. I will get nauseated. And it wasn't always, it was just like kind of on a year mark. And I started like noticing that as I grew up. And I didn't understand what that was. But I think my body was having that reaction. And those are
Mhm.
things people don't see, Marlene.
Those are the
That
th-
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk over you. You can
Oh no,
finish.
no, no, no. Oh no, no. That was it. That was it. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Go
okay.
go on.
Yeah, I could say for myself, I had so much problems having romantic relationships because of my, my abuse. When
Hmm.
somebody, when you grow up having those sort of traumas from your parents, when you have somebody made you a victim of a crime, because that's what it is when you get abused, assaulted, something major happens to you in your life, and it's like you stay in that space and you can't move forward because number one, you don't know how. You're around people that are toxic and are not supportive of you moving forward and having those conversations. And another thing, you don't want to admit it to yourself as well. That's another thing. For a
Hmm.
long time, I didn't want to. I always kept telling myself, "I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Everything's all right." And if you keep telling yourself you're all right when you're not, you're never that change never is going to happen in you, and you'll never get the healing that you need.
Exactly. And so, for me, it's sometimes it's not even you push it away. Remember, I told you this before, that I will push it away. Nah, nope, nope, we're not gonna think about it right now. Nope, not right now. I got a lot of things to do. I will sit down for a minute, something will remind me. And I'm not saying every day, but from time to time it will bring it back, and I'll say nope, not right now. What that did to me is that I started getting anxiety attacks
Mhm.
that came out of nowhere, you know? And going back to the relationships you just said, you don't realize how damaged you are until you are in an intimate relationship with someone, right? For me, um, that's when everything comes back, because now, you're gonna have to be put on that vulnerable situation again, according to you. And so it was, for me, it was very traumatic having to go through that again, even though it wasn't the same situation, right? Like, let's say on your honeymoon, right? It's your
Mhm.
honeymoon, it's what's gonna happen after you get married. But for you, for me at least, it wasn't like, yay, that's what's gonna happen. It's more like, oh my god, it's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's like the things that you should enjoy, the things that are normal in relationship is the things like you're, I don't know, it's kind of like it makes you uncomfortable, it paralyzes you,
Mm-hmm.
but it's so difficult to allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to tell a person, especially the person you're in a relationship with, I'm uncomfortable with affection. I'm uncomfortable because of what happened to me. And unless something like that has happened to you, you can't understand traumas.
Yeah, exactly. And for the longest time, for me now, we're gonna be going back and forth, right? Because we're gonna be getting things back. But um, for me, Marlene, even before getting married or anything, I know I started sleeping with the light on. I couldn't turn off my light in my room. It had to be on at all times. And if somebody will come and turn it off, I will wake up screaming, because I didn't even know that the light was off. I would just wake up, and I guess I would see the light off, and I would start screaming. So they learned that I had to have the light on. They didn't know why, right? The reason why. And they will, sometimes my sisters will get mad at me, like, why is the light on all the time? But I had to do that. I had to have my light on. And um, from time to time, even now, Marlene, in the years that I'm in, sometimes I leave the light on too. Even though I have already worked on myself, Gio said this earlier, thank God for therapy. Um, I have already worked those things out, right? I'm already in a place where I have dealt with them the right way, the professional way, because I don't get tired to tell people enough that getting professional help is the smartest thing you can do in your life, when you have a trauma. So even though I have worked with that, from time to time I get that, and I leave the light on, because I get that anxiety, that fear, so I leave it on, just to reassure myself everything is okay.
Yeah, that that's a that's something that happens to us when something like that happens, and we don't even realize that we're doing it. We just That's our coping mechanism. For you, it's leaving the light on. For me, I did not like anybody getting too close to me. Like anytime, I'm like, okay, why are you so close to me? Because I always thought that I was going to be victimized again.
Marlene, that's something so true about that statement, because for me, when you're broken, right, and you get into a romantic relationship with someone, the question I always ask, why? First, why? Right? Why do you want to, marry me, or why do you want to get together with me? And the second was, why do you love me?
Mm.
You know, or when they will say, "Oh,
Because
I love
you don't feel like you're
Yes,
lovable because you
there
don't
you
love
go.
yourself. I think that I'm just speaking for myself
Yeah, I
because
was
that's how
there.
I was at that time period.
I was there too. And the thing when they said, I don't know if you did this too, but when people will say "I love you," and you will say in even on a low little, like, muffled little voice, yeah, right, or why? I will say
Or
that sometimes.
no, mine was I could never say the words. Like if somebody said I love you, I could say me too,
Mm-hmm.
but I could never say I love you.
I will say mm-hmm, mm-hmm, or thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
That's the worst.
yeah, thank you, or mm-hmm. But inside of me, I will say why, and like, right,
Oh,
like you really
inside.
do.
Mm,
Mm.
wow. That's a deep one right there. And a lot of times, like when I was going through therapy, I learned this about myself, that the reason why I struggled to tell people I loved them and I cared about them is because a person that I loved and I cared for and trusted so much did something so traumatic to me. So it was like, so I wasn't interested after that to
Mm.
say, I like, okay, I tried that already. I tried, the love you stuff, and look what it did to me. So
Yeah,
I had to fix that inside of myself so that I didn't keep myself stuck anymore.
exactly. And it's like, if that person that, like you said, that you loved and loved you did that, you're like, if that is love, then what else can happen to me? Like, like, if that was love, then, and it hurt me that bad or damaged me that bad, then, why should I believe that you actually do? And sometimes you lose, friends and or romantic partners because of it, because your inability to accept that somebody can actually love you for who you are, and it's only because you're not there, you don't love yourself enough.
Yeah. I think that's a deep one right there, because a lot of times we'll feel like, oh, there's no way, there's no way. Everything that they tell you, it's like, you're right. There's no way that this person could actually love me. Like you doubt everybody's love until you work on fixing yourself.
Exactly. And again, it's all because of the deep scar you carry with you, because of how damaged, because like I said, it's not, it probably, that person probably didn't even mean it that way, or didn't think it was going to cause that much trauma or pain in you, but it's how you received it, how vulnerable you were at the time that this happened, right? Or sometimes I blame how naive you were,
Yes. Yeah,
that
and
they.
and how you were so trusting.
Mhm. Yes, that's exactly how. why, and then you start asking, why did I trust you so fast? How did I
Mhm.
allow that to happen? And this is where, the trust issues arise from, because from
Yes,
then on you're not going to be the same person. And for me, it was very hard for me to trust people. I mean, truly trust people. When I meet someone, I give them that benefit, right? I trust you right now, I just met you. I trust you a little, or I give you that benefit of that trust. But I don't do it 100% trusting, like maybe I would have had I not gone through what I went through.
exactly. And I think that it takes, like, you have to process all of those things in your mind. Um, and when you're going through something, you know how you get so used to something unhealthy or something toxic, you're so used to doing things this way that it becomes normal to you.
Yeah, you
And
normalize it.
yeah, you normalize it. And I'm like, that's not no, it's not normal to not be able to tell people you love them. It's not normal to not want affection. Like all of those, that's the reason why I, for myself, why I said I don't want to harm another generation and give the same scars that I received when I was growing up, because that's just what you'll do. You'll start another generation of people in your life, even whether you have children or not, somebody is looking at you like, man, you are messed up. Because that's what I used to say when I was a little kid. And then as you grow up, now somebody will be looking at you and be like, man, you're messed up. So until you work on yourself and make decisions like, I don't want to be as negative, mean, nasty, I don't, or even to have certain, what is it called? Certain vices like the people in your life had. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things that you can find yourself that maybe you normally wouldn't, but the person that did something to you, were they a person to drink or smoke or certain things. That's why till this day I cannot stand the smell of brandy.
See, and those are the things. And with that in mind, Marlene, I have the one more thing to say is that I've always said this, and I think I've said it before, when we're talking sometimes on this platform, is that you have to be very cognizant of what you do and what you say to children around you, not just your biological kids, to any child around you. You have to be careful on the things that you do, the things that you say, because it can scar them for life. It can scare them of a lot of things. So I always tell people, you have to be in your best behavior when you're around kids, because I remember when I was that age, and so said this and how it hurt me. That's how I think. So I always try to be, the best that I can be around kids. It's important, so that we don't cause them to have and carry this type of scars and traumas that we carry around.
Exactly. It's so important. It's so important to have these type of conversations and to talk about the past, because the whole thing about life is that we're always taught to not talk about it. I can't speak for you, Nexie. I don't know if this happened to you or anybody in the chat or someone who is listening in the replay. But when I was growing up, I was always taught that things that made you feel uncomfortable, things that people in your family were doing, or something that was weird. We always were taught to, like, mum's the word, like, we don't talk about
You
it.
don't talk about it.
We don't
Yes,
talk
ma'am.
about it. That's a family secret, but
hmm
that's not good because that will give you more traumas and anxiety.
Exactly, and it's the thing. It's actually, in my culture too, is hush hush. Don't be talking about that. Don't say that. Even that weird uncle you have that
Mhm.
kids shouldn't be around. You can't say anything. We don't talk about that. Just don't go around him. We don't talk about things like that. It's like, what do you mean? You should be screaming it from the rooftop. and say
Yeah.
don't allow any kids around here because of the trauma, right? So, but
Hmm.
we always kept it, hush hush. You can't. Feelings, there's no such a thing as feelings. We don't talk about things that are not important. That's what they tell you, right?
No, but I believe when we open that door to that conversation, we also have to say, because if you're saying that, that means it actually happened to you, and they don't want to believe that or accept that to be a
Mm-hmm.
reality. Everybody wants to walk around like, nope, that didn't happen. Nope, nope, nope. If I don't listen to you, that means it didn't happen, because nobody wants to take the accountability of, I saw certain things and I didn't do anything about it.
Or it happened to me, I said nothing and it didn't, and here we go again. And also, we have to keep in mind that the our past and the scars that they leave, it actually, we keep our past with us, right? Even though it's in the past, it's still with us, because our scars that are deep enough to always remind you of what happened, which is why we have to be very careful. For me, it took me a long time, Marlene, to get to this place where I can talk about, the things that I have gone through. Because if this would have been a few years back, I would have not been able to. I would have said, no, no, nothing. Everything is fine. Family was perfect. I was perfect. Everything was perfect. Because we're
Yeah,
always told to keep it quiet. Don't overshare, right, Marlene? Don't overshare. Why are you
yeah. Don't
oversharing?
don't overshare, but in the meantime, be miserable, angry, blood
Mm-hmm.
pressure up high, you're not sleeping, either you're putting on weight or you're losing too much weight, you have anxiety issues, a lot of things happen to us because we are taught to be so afraid of our trauma that you never let yourself heal from it, because the very thing that you need to do, which is have conversations, you won't do.
They take them away from you.
Yeah.
They take that away from you, and that's the saddest part about it, is that they take the ability for you to heal through conversations, for never mind from a professional, but even just a family member that could listen to you and help you a little, just because he or she listened to you. They take that away from you, and then again taking more power away from you, so sinking you deeper into whatever issues you're having,
Yeah,
right?
and then that gives you more issues. It's like it starts to become layers, if
It's
you
like a
don't heal.
bottomless pit.
Yeah, it's like, and then next thing you know, you're in so deep that you're drowning. And you're like, how do I come
Yes.
back to a norm?
Yeah, is there a norm?
Yeah,
Or how
that's
can, I don't know, Marlene, if you ever did this, but how can she be so normal? Like, how can she be so happy? Like,
mhm.
why is she so peppy all the time? Like, why you start seeing people in that way, because you're so dark, you're
Yeah,
so broken inside, that even people that are happy and that are constantly around you trying to make you happy, you're like, why is she so bubbly? Oh my god.
yeah. I can say that 100%. Back in the day, if there was a person like who I am now, they would make me so mad. I would be like, why are they always smiling? I was like, I can't stand her. And she wasn't doing anything. I was like, look at her and look at her outfit. I always had to find something to nitpick about somebody to make me not like them. And it wasn't anything, it was something frivolous. I used to make up a story in my head. Oh, look at them in their suit, or who do they think they are? Look at that car that they have. But it was
But
nothing. There's no
Marlene,
basis to it.
that, that's simple. Have a good day. What's the good about it?
Yes.
I used to get upset sometimes too. Like when people were like, "Oh, have a wonderful day." What's so wonderful about it? You go ahead, a wonderful day.
Yeah. Then I would start talking about the way they look. Oh, yeah, you need to go and work on yourself. Look at your hair, or look,
Yeah, did you see
you
the
know.
teeth on that? Did you see the teeth on that? My God, look at them
it,
skinny legs. You will go
Hey,
work on your legs.
yeah, you had to find something to come against and talk about a person.
And it's, now that you think about it, it's all the brokenness, it's all that unworked on anger that you had kept inside that was making you do these things. And it happens at a point where you feel grown, right? When you're, now I can defend myself, and so now I can say whatever I want, now I can be whoever I want to, nobody's gonna mess with me now. And that's when you start unleashing all of that anger, all of those insecurities, and you start putting them on others.
Yes, and I feel like this is a perfect segue for us to go into the members only.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
yes. So thank you guys so much for joining for this conversation and podcast. I really do appreciate you, and thank you so much, Nexi.
Thank you for having me, Marlene.
You're welcome, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into Love Marlene 411. And as always, we talk about the uncomfortable conversations. And I will see you guys next Thursday for the next Sip and Chat. Thank you guys so much.